Ha me hearties, and good morning everyone, and welcome to Monday's writing lesson. We are just going to run through a few practical things first of all as to how our lessons are going to look online. We are making them as much as possible the same as how we do it in the classroom, so you're going to recognise a lot of the things that we do. So for example, the symbols that we use are also being used today. We are also going to use the initiates. If you remember, the initiates are help us with our ideas. It gives us the words to use in the sentence. Those of you who'd like to use the initiate, you will find it in the assignments page, and it is a piece of paper with the pictures and the words for each chunk of writing that you will need to use today. So if you want to use it, you'll need to have that one in front of you as well. Let's talk about the chunks of writing. Remember, in each English lesson, we split it into 3 parts. Each part has a focus. So, for example, as you can see today, our first focus is to write an alliteration heading. Each chunk of writing for each child will be different. You should know what is expected from you from being in class. So, for example, we're going to ignore the heading, the first one, because that's for everyone, it's pretty much the same. But our second chunk of writing today, as in class, you will be expected to have that focus. You will always be expected to use a capital letter and a full stop. That's everyone in year 2. There's no exceptions there. But what is different is that for some of you, the chunk of writing is just one sentence. When I suggest a sentence, we model a sentence, then that's the sort of thing I'm looking for from you. Other children might want to deepen the moment, and therefore their chunk of writing might have 2 or 3 sentences. It depends on your ideas, where you are. Just a little note for parents out there who might be supporting their child, or for those children who need to remember about deepening the moment. We never ever write on. We only ever take what we're writing about and we add detail. That's what deepening the moment is. Deepening the moment for a non-chronological report can be tricky. In a story, we tend to use a lot more descriptive sentences and maybe write a feeling sentence or a thought sentence or maybe a speech sentence for that moment of writing. We can't do that in a non-chronological report, but as we go along, I will give you some ideas of how to deepen the moment. It might be add one of the facts from your research. It might be put a question in there. So there's a different way of doing it. Right, we're going to get on with today's lesson, and we are going to look at our first chunk of writing. It's an easy one. We are going to write the heading. And here we are. What's our report about? It's about pirates. Now we want to use alliteration. Can you remember what alliteration is? Have a think. It's when the words we use start with the same sound. So, for example, we might have a heading of perilous pirates. You can see that I've got some other suggestions in front of you. We've got powerful, petrifying pirates. We've got pilfering pirates. These are all alliteration. You can choose any of those p words to use in your heading. If you want to use a different alliteration, have a little think now, write down some ideas. What other alliteration can we use for pirates? It may not begin with P. It might be something like those rough rogues of the sea. So we've got rough rogues of the sea. You might use this in C for alliteration. What can you come up with? I'm going to have a think, pause the video, think about your ideas, and let's write a heading together. What did you come up with for your heading? I came up with pirates, seafaring scallywags. Write your heading on the piece of paper. You might have a piece of paper in front of you, or I have put into the assignments page a piece of a Word document which you can type onto. Obviously it's important you do practice your handwriting whilst you're at home, but at the moment when we are submitting our work we can type it if you've got the device where you can type the work and then hand it in via Teams or Tapestry. Again, it really doesn't matter. Okay, write your heading. Now we're going to go to our next chunk of writing. Boys and girls, let's see what we need to do for our next chunk. Okay, boys and girls, let's think about what this chunk of writing is about. First of all, let's go back to the shape of the text. We've just written our heading. Now we're going to introduce what our non-chronological report is about. It's about pirates, but we need to tell our reader that. Now, there is a clip link on one of the documents that I've put into our assignments, which we could watch now because it's not going to work from here. Usually in class we would be watching a clip. Whilst watching the clip, I want you to gather some words. Now, the type of verbs, action words we're going to collect, put into our first chunk, our first sentence. First of all, how did those pirates travel? How did they cross? They voyaged across the sea. They journeyed across the sea. They toured the high seas. Think about how they stole. Words for robbed, cheated, raided. Then think about words for fighting. They fought, they beat, they attacked people. Let's collect as many of those words together, look at them on the screen, and then think about how we can put those together into a sentence to introduce our report. You can pause me now whilst you collect them and whilst you watch the clip. And when you've unpaused, let's think about how we can put that into a sentence. Now, sadly, I can't model the sentence for you, but I've put some on the screen, some of the suggestions that you might want to do. So let's first of all, I'm going to turn my camera off for a second. Hang on. Am I able to do that? Oh, I can't turn the camera off whilst I'm recording. Doesn't matter. Let's remember what it is that I want you to set to write at the moment. So we are going to write something such as, you can see part of it there, many years ago, or 100 years ago, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, a long time ago. These are some ways we can start introducing our report. So a long time ago, pirates voyaged across the seas, pirates travelled across the seas, pirates toured the high seas, and they, across the seas, I'm trying to remember what my model is, stealing, mugging, cheating, and fighting, everyone fighting people for their riches. So let's put that into a sentence. Many years ago, pirates travelled across the seas, stealing and mugging and attacking people for their, or other sailors for their riches. Full stop. These are the verbs that we've collected that you're going to put into your sentence. Have a go now of writing this sentence using the verbs either on the board or some that you've collected yourself. Write them onto your sheet. Pause the video to give yourself some time. So hopefully you've written your first chunk of writing. If you wanted to deepen the moment, you could describe stormy seas. You could describe how the pirates were all sailing together as a crew. Okay, hopefully you've started to write your introduction. Let's look at our next chunk of writing. We're going to continue to explain what the pirates were doing when they travelled across the seas. We're going to focus on using adjectives in this chunk of writing. It's really important that we get into practice of putting adjectives into our sentences. So let's think about what they stole. I've got 3 suggestions on the board for you. So they stole large ships, they stole large wooden elaborate ships from other sailors. Let's have a look at what else they stole. Well, they did, didn't they? They stole treasure. This is my golden coins. They stole treasure from people. What can we do to describe that treasure? We've got sparkling treasure, glistening treasure, valuable, beautiful treasure. You describe the treasure that they stole. Deepen the moment if you want to at this point, because you could really be descriptive about the type of gold and jewellery that they stole from other sailors and from other people. What else did they steal? Well, strangely, they did actually steal foods and spices, delicious food. How can we describe it? Sweet food, delicious food, luxurious food. So what did they steal? Let's collect the ideas together, pause the video, think about maybe something you've written in your research. Think about how you can add an adjective to the things that they used to take from people to put into our next chunk of writing. Have a pause, have a think. Once you've unpaused the video, let's have a look at how I've put those ideas together. I've written the model on the board, which we would usually write on our board in class. So I've put that they went in search of and stole superior ships. So I've used superior ships, ornate jewellery and delicious food. I'm flashing up the basics for you as I say them. Why? Because we are using the basics. We are using adjectives in this sentence. That's what I'm looking for in this chunk of writing. Adjectives, capital letters and full stops. That's all we're going to write for today. Each day we're going to take a different subheading and we're going to put 3 chunks of writing for that subheading. Have a read back of your writing from today. Does it make sense? Have you used adjectives? Have you used capital letters and full stops? Can you use the initiate sheet to check any of those keyword spellings? Can you improve your writing in any way? That's your challenge for today, and hopefully you can show me some amazing introductions to your non-chronological report. Until tomorrow, boys and girls, well done.